Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Careertainment, and today we will be talking about people management, the fourth most important skill set for you guys to succeed in an Industry 4.0 scenario as per the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report. Now, for those of you who are following this playlist on my YouTube channel are aware that we have already done the top three skill sets, which is complex problem solving, critical thinking, and then creativity. So today we'll be talking about people management, the fourth most important skill set as per that report. Now, the moment we talk about people management, there is this desire to use the latest HR buzzwords: agile workforce, distributed work environment, HR, data-driven HR practices, reskilling, upskilling, culture manager, etc., etc. Many of you also have this urge to get your team into a workshop and be done with analyzing their personality so that you can manage them better. You know the usual ways, the 16 personality types by the MBTI method, or the 9 or 6 Enneagram personality types, or whatever. I'm quite certain many of you must have already gone through it, right? Now, this desire to manage people, in my view, is a pretty natural instinct that comes to all of us. In fact, it is linked to a very basic human instinct of a tribal or a animal instinct, perhaps, right? All of us want to be leaders. We want to rally our forces, go to battle, win the battle, bring home the booty. You know, that's a very animal instinct, and perhaps that's got extended into the organizational domain, and that's why people management is so very important. But society is evolving, and so are people and their aspirations and their expectations. So we need to look at people management as a skill set in that context, in that evolutionary kind of context, and not in a primitive context. And that's what we'll try to do in this video. Because much as you may want to link these modern HR tech buzzwords to the skill set people management, in my view, the basic fundamentals of people management as a skill set are fairly simple and straightforward. You'll also find that what we will talk about is also contrarian perhaps to much of what is being talked about outside, but then we'll come to that. But I thought before we progress any further, I would like to table two very important aspects before you. First, let's be honest with each other. Nobody likes to be managed. You don't like to be managed. I don't like to be managed. As human beings, we don't like to be managed. Forget people management, we don't like to be managed. The second aspect that I want to table is the fact that people don't live to work. People work because certain other aspirations of their life can be fulfilled. So if you are trying to configure this people management skill set around the fact that you feel people live to work, then it's not correct. You may go wrong. You will go wrong, in fact. Right? Now, having said that, let's then find out what's the best way to acquire people management as a skill set. In my view, the best way to acquire people management as a skill set is by not managing people and by managing yourselves. Extend that even to an organization. The best way to manage people in an organization is by not managing them, but by managing the work environment and the variables associated with the work environment in a manner which allows the people working there to realize their potential in a very smooth manner. So I repeat, the best way to acquire people management as a skill set is not by trying to manage the other guy, but to manage yourselves. That's the secret. At least that's what my opinion is, right? So how do you manage yourselves? Right? There are many ways to do that, but I remember two concepts which I want to talk about in this video. One is an old concept by an author called Eric Burns. He wrote about it in his book called Transactional Analysis, that a human being or an individual's personality or individuality is a mix of three states: a parent state, an adult state, and a child state. So if you sit back and relax and try to identify which state are you coming from, and by the way, you don't come from one exclusive state, it's a mix of all. So if you sit back and think about which state you're coming from in a particular experience of yours, then you'll be able to manage yourselves in a manner that it becomes easy for other people to interact with you and realize their potential through you. And that's the best people management skill that you can acquire. We actually see that many times when you're dealing with in an organization with your subordinates, right? You try to come all the time from a parent state, from a directive state. But who knows, try doing that try interacting with your subordinate or your team member or even your colleague from a child state or an adult state. And suddenly you'll find things happening, the work gets done. So it's a very interesting concept. I would urge you to, kind of go through that book, Eric Berne's Transactional Analysis. But there's another concept which I like, which is an old Indic concept about Gunas. What our Indic concept and Indic philosophy says that our individuality is made up of 3 Gunas or qualities. Tamasic Gunas, Rajasic Gunas, and Sattvic Gunas. Tamasic Gunas are those which make you lethargic, lazy, delusory, etc., etc., right? Then you have Rajasic Gunas which make you aggressive, go-getter, very enthusiastic. That's your Rajasic Guna. And then there is your Sattvic Guna, which is basically on the divine side, which make you peaceful, satisfied, self-assured. Now, each one of us, you, me, everybody, is a mix of these 3 gunas. There is nobody in this world who's got only 1 guna or 2 gunas. Everybody has these 3 gunas or these 3 qualities. Yes, there is a prevalence or a primacy of a certain guna which makes you come across as, let's say, Rajasic or very aggressive and very go-getting kind of an attitude, or very tamasic or a lethargic. So if you have tamasic gunas which are prevalent, then you'll be very lethargic and lazy. So if you are able to sit back, meditate, and find out which gunas are prevalent in you, and there'll be a mix of these gunas, never will be an exclusive gunas, prevalent in you, you'll be able to interact with the people around you in a most smooth manner, in a most frictionless manner. That's the best way to identify these guna and find out what skills this whole people management skill set in you. Now, how do you identify which guna is prevalent? They say by observing your thoughts. But for many of us, observing your thought is something really esoteric, right? It can be very difficult because something invisible. But doesn't matter. A thought is nothing but a wave. On one side is anchored to a desire, on the other side it is anchored to an action. So if we are able to observe our actions and desires, we'll be able to analyze what guna or what quality, Rajasic, Tamasic or Sattvic, is prevalent in us. We'll be even able to modulate that. I was surprised. There are actually copybook step-by-step approaches given to actually modulate your gunas. It happens by what you eat, what you do, how you exercise. But then that Vata, Pitta, Kapha, there is a different concept about that, and that's for another video because that's a long topic. But the fact remains that if you sit back and identify your gunas and modulate them, you will be able to interact with the world around you in a very frictionless and smooth manner, and that's the best people management skill that you will acquire. You can actually extend that even to an organization. There are many organizations which are very Rajasic, or there are very Tamasic organizations. For example, an organization which is obsessed by doing Q-on-Q reviews, targets, driven, is a very Rajasic organization. Nothing wrong, very good. But the problem with a Rajasic organization is that it can get fatigued over a period of time. There could be examples of even Tamasic organizations, right? Nobody cares. You come in, you punch your card, you go, you get your salary, you work, you don't work, nobody's bothered. That's a very Tamasic organization, right? So if you're a people manager or a leader, you need to really understand and identify even the gunas of your organization. How do people perceive your organization, is it a Rajasic organization? Is it a Tamasic organization? And you need to even put in a system, let's say a motivation system, for example, for your people to address to every aspect of their gunas. Because the gunas are prevalent, it is there, right? It is there amongst everybody. You can't say that I don't want people with no tamasic gunas. It's not possible. Then you don't have people, right? So you modulate your motivation policies and HR policies to address these gunas. So to address, let's say, the tamasic gunas, you put in a motivation policy which largely revolves around carrot and stick. For Rajasic and for the Rajasic attributes of your team, you put across a system of, let's say, reward and recognition. And for the addressing the tamasic aspects or the tamasic or sattvic attributes of your team, you put across a motivation system which revolves around allowing him to actualize his potential. Some people may like trekking, some people may like music, some people may like performing arts. Build that into your motivation system. So this way, a mix of programs will address all the gunas within your organization, and you need to be sensitive and modulate them from time to time to best address the potentiality of your team. So I hope this video has helped you. Manage yourselves, identify your own gunas, and that's the best people management skills that you can acquire. See you next time. Cheers. Bye for now.